through Valentine, Jobin, and a few
How do
other
I beat
characters.
Malice's
Wonder View is
Drytron
one of
with
those
just board
introduced
breakers?
by logic, which is another thing I'll get into later, but just keep with me here. What is also explained is that duality between all things is and should be equal or balance out to zero. I would also like to, at this point in the video, heavily point out these ideas are not
Seems
platonic,
pretty
as why would an
far-fetched if
author
you
like
ask
to
me.
put these ideas in his stories if they're not supposed to be connected in some way? And definitely in part 7 and 8, as these stories are a lot more grown up and a lot more mature compared to at least previous parts. With that being said, Wonder Review definitely scales above D4C Love Train, and it's pretty impressive, but it can go even farther than that. Wonder Review even scales above Tuss Act 4. Wonder Review has a calamity on the Higashikata family, which is a family dying from the rock disease, and is something they couldn't break. Johnny tried to break this curse with the corpse parts, but failed. Johnny tried to shoot the curse with Tuss Act 4 to end it, but Tuss Act 4 got reflected by the curse, and Johnny died due to the calamity. It's a consistent fate that all family members who try to save their children from the curse usually end up dying because of it. Moving on to the next idea that involves Wonder Review is society and reality. These concepts are the universe and how people interact with them. To keep it short, as this part could be extremely lengthy if I just kept on going, in part 7, society is called the universe, and whoever takes the first path will invent the foundation slash things into existence. Mamazuku explains that Wonder Review through calamity slash karma attacks you with everything you've ever interacted with in society, and being the complete badass he is actually shows it visually in real time. Wonder Review slash calamity is a law that will never go away and will forever remain in this world.
I'm using the wrong deck.
Of manipulating
Normal summon Mystic Tomato
are the universes. Wonder Review is by far probably one of the strongest stands in this series, not even joking. It has the ability to manipulate you and your actions, is to be stated to be even above multiverses and concepts of the sort. Wonder Review is a multiversal entity that exists through all universes, as fate, gravity, calamity, and logic can all be summed up as the same thing, as everything has its opposite and equal. And to get into more power scaling terms, Wonder Review is technically a type 2 abstract existence entity, as he simply is one with logic and will always come back because of it. Even destroyed mind, body, and soul, his energy, the calamity energy, will still exist afterwards. So even if Toru dies, Wonder Review will come back, giving him a high godly level regeneration. So with all of that context now given to you guys, how does Soft and Wet Go Beyond scale above Wonder Review? Wonder Review is stated to be above all JoJo villains' abilities, which include D4C Love Train, and the only thing in JoJo's that can beat Wonder Review is Soft and Let Go Beyond, calling back to that volume 27 statement, which, under the context of everything I said, Wonder Review exists in every individual JoJo universe slash world. Soft and Let Go Beyond transcends all logic and transcends the logic known as calamity. The bubble spins infinitely till they're zero. Finally, they don't exist in our world. The bubbles themselves are illogical, and due to this, they beat Toru and Wonder Review. And even when Calamity came back to attack the Higashikatas, Josuke was absolutely able to destroy even that, kind of making the bubbles able to destroy concepts, which is kind of crazy. If you were to layer all the strongest stands, or at least all the concepts in JoJo, some of the strongest stands like Tuss Act 4, D4C Love Train, GR, would still be bound by the ideas of Wonder Review and logic, as that's kind of the supreme thing within the idea of JoJo. Gravity, fate, all of that is surrounding all other things in this universe, or at least in this franchise. The bubbles are outside that circle. They don't care and are able to damage slash completely destroy it in some cases. Quickly circling back to explain all of this, when you talk about the strongest stands in the franchise, there's levels of infinity at the high points here. Using D4C Love Train as a foundation so that we can build Tuss Act 4 and Wonder Review off of, Wonder Review is established as being fundamentally superior to them, as he's an abstract concept of logic and reason in JoJo that exists everywhere in the infinite multiverse as law and won't go away. Soft and Let Go Beyond fits the 5D qualifications because it goes beyond infinity both logically and literally, as the bubbles infinitely spin till they reach zero. And infinity is logic, in JoJo, which Southern Light Go Beyond transcends. Final reasonings here is that all dimensions of space-time, the infinite JoJo multiverse here, are logical and within reason. So we got D4C Love Train as the multiversal plus foundation, TUS Act 4 being infinity. You can sneak GR in here above TUS Act 4 being infinity and kind of controlling fate a little bit, at least subpar to Wonder View. And at the very top, Wonder View being this conceptual infinity entity that reigns above all of them, enclosing them into that metaphorical circle I said earlier, which Software Go Beyond doesn't exist in. To give a stat breakdown of Software Go Beyond, it is a being that does not technically exist anywhere, where there is logic and reasoning, that being all of time and space to a conceptual, not outer-versal level. Possibly, if you did scale Wonder View high enough, you could get to low outer-versal there, but I don't think the scaling's that high, but he could be there. It would be pretty safe to say with all the information I've provided that Software Go Beyond's bubbles are at least 5D in terms of hacks.
Let's go gambling!
When it comes to speed, it's probably immeasurable, given the speed of the bubble would be illogical too. Immeasurable being the highest in the JoJo-verse, logically, as in speed, going off the basis of Made in Heaven Poochie, as it stated for him that he is either infinite or immeasurable, depending on past video scalings. So, I asked the question again, is Software Go Beyond the strongest stand in JoJo's? With everything I said and my educated opinion, yeah, he probably is, and I'm probably even going to take that back. He is, actually, at least in my opinion. Now we enter the GR argument here, as this is something I have to at least touch on and debate here. I would like to clarify here that Golden Wind did release, at least at the timing of this video, damn near 27 years ago, almost 28. With that context in mind, I would like to at least present the ideas that Araki can change his opinion on who's the strongest, as this is his franchise to dictate and rule over. So I'm just gonna go through some arguments here, and that's it. I'm just gonna briefly state them and maybe talk about them in a later, much bigger video, maybe putting these two characters up against each other, as this video is already long enough. GR is technically still logical, as it has no descriptions of anything remotely illogical compared to the canon definition of its powers. Araki literally says when looking back in the entirety of the series in terms of who's the most powerful, he says Wonder View is the most powerful, and to beat him is beyond hope, heavily implying Software Go Beyond can, and no other characters in the series could. Another one would be Wonder View and Software Go Beyond don't have actually any stand statements. Even the statements Wonder View makes, a description of himself, even mirrors GR's Beyond Stand's statements, as literally the only ever time a stand literally says for themselves they are the strongest, Wonder View is one of them, and the other being GR. In a weird sense, and even looking at this in real life, Golden Wind and JoJolion were literally around at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if Araki re-inspired himself seeing his own anime. Another one would be, of course, that no data book guide statements are up to date anymore. The whole canon idea that GR is the strongest stand is still technically, at least at the time of this recording, still in question.
That's hilarious.
There is no data book that actually likes to fully describe Software Go Beyond's and Wonder View's abilities to their fullest, with Araki's quotes next to them. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is there is no up-to-date data book with Part 8 stands in it. And one that I've been seeing very often now here, at least past JoJolion's ending, is that a lot of people are comparing Software Go Beyond's bubble to TUS Act 4's spin for whatever reason. The bubble isn't the representation of the spin as a whole, it's just Josuke's spin. People trying to use the argument trying to dishonestly scale Software Go Beyond to below or slightly above TUS Act 4 but not in its entirety, and then try to pull the whole GR transcends all of them just because it has no stats and TUS Act 4 does have stats, is pretty stupid and dishonest when it comes to Software Go Beyond's power and GR's as a whole. No matter the type of translation you pull for Software Go Beyond's stand card, it will never change the context that the stand card is Josuke's spin, not the concept of the spin. And everyone in the part makes it very, very clear that it's Josuke's spin and not some almighty representation of it like TUS Act 4. They call Josuke's spin illogical. The golden rotation, TUS Act 4 and Ballbreaker have absolutely nothing on the level of that thing and don't even compare to it. While it might be in the same family tree as it, it's not the same. It's just literal copium at this point. I would even argue at the most basic level of fundamental power scaling, like, oh yeah, maybe just the Requiems are quote-unquote the strongest. It's been damn near 30 years from Golden Wind, and stands have been progressively getting more complex and changing over time. Stands for a very long time to get to their pinnacle of power, to even rival GER, have just literally just been getting rage amps and just resolve development to get to that point. The idea that you need an arrow to become the strongest is fucking out the window on the road, dude. And no discredit to GER.
Sure, the field spell.
He's still one of the strongest stands. It's just time has moved on and progressed past him. There is no point of using GER anymore. Even Rocky has very few times brought him up ever. People really do just get attached to certain parts of history when it comes to certain characters, as it's pretty common for a lot of power scaling communities that one character just reigns above them all, even though that might not actually be the case. And I'm not totally against the idea of doing Software Go Beyond versus Gold Experience Requiem, as that's still on the board. Looking at it currently though, it just seems like one side has more information on it than the other that isn't outdated. So I think that's all I have to say. Well, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, stay hydrated. I hope you enjoyed the video, and remember to share it with your friends, as that's the whole point of this video, I guess. Goodbye.
Okay, that's kind of funny. Don't let anyone just leave you like you were nobody. Cause you mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you. That's it at the end of the day.
Be someone else, so trying to meet others' expectations. Some could stay, rather die and say nothing lies ahead. So burn and trade out. I'm that abnormality, most wanted for disturbing the formality. Negative vitality, superficiality, spread denies my personality. Oh boy, not again. Came back again with a plot against me. You must wanna get tossed again. Truth be told, your mission aboard again. Never lose my mind's locked tight like Tokyo grip, like concentrated. Be careful when I'm agitated. Better back up, the attack, so I can.
Don't let anyone mislead
Nobody, cause you mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you. Let's see at the end of the day who's gonna be smiling.
Since school days, it's real life.
Real life
To go life, instead you gotta write your own manuals to your life. I did it my way, switching 4 lanes on the highway. Fast and furious, the image I display, they can't wait to obey my style. Society needs to be systematic, well calculated, it's mathematics, but can't prevent me from being charismatic. While I'm at it, my shit's automatic. They wanted to leave my existence, underestimated the power of resistance. I'm a dot to the middle distance, can't never catch me, stop me.
Don't let anyone mislead you like you were nobody. Cause you mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you. Let's see at the end of the day who's gonna be smiling. Anyone mislead you like you were nobody. Cause you mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you. Let's see at the end of the day who's gonna smile. But does anyone mistreat you like you were nobody? Cause you mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you.
If I gotta be someone who's always trying to meet others' expectations, I'm gonna stay, rather die and slay, nothing lies ahead, so I burn and trade out. I'm that abnormality, most wanted, disturbing the full melody, negative vitality, superficiality.
Nice, I've got all the names. Where did I get engaged? Wait, what? What? Oh.
Provide an adequate service for many tunes. You'll make as much money as possible. Within these 6 days, I want to figure out just how far I can push this whole pizzeria business and truly see how much money I could obtain in a single playthrough of Fallout 6.
Why isn't it once per turn, but also what the fuck?
Not in our inevitable fate. This challenge not only requires immense skill in every part of this game, but also a ton of patience and a lot of planning and routing. With that said, let's get into the rules of this challenge, and there's really only one. We have to finish the game with as much money as possible saved up, and hopefully we can reach that coveted millionaire status. I knew going into this challenge that I had to start saving as much money as possible from the very start, and that this would be a very long trial and error process until I truly had the best possible route figured out. And the routing for this game starts early, and by early, I literally mean before you even open the game. When Fallout 6 was first released, it was meant to be a surprise that it was actually an official FNAF game. So when first booting up the game, you would have with a simple 8-bit minigame where you would feed your children some pizza. This would then transition into a demo salvage sequence where the official game would then start. Typically, you're given $100 in starting cash on the first day, but that won't get us very far. Luckily, if you design your pizza to have the bottom 4 options on it, which honestly creates the most disgusting sounding pizza ever. Like, you leave out the best 2 toppings and then put olives on it, bro. What child is going to eat this? Regardless, if you design your pizza in this specific way, then play the minigame and baby intro sequence, you'll be awarded an extra $100 in addition to your normal starting cash. Though, a problem with this strategy is that even when creating a new game, you still won't be met with this screen. It's only meant to trigger when you boot up the game for the very first time. So, every time that we want to restart this challenge, we'll actually have to go into the save file for the game and change this first variable from a
Then play the entire minigame sequence again and listen to Henry's entire intro tape, and we can finally start the game. We did all of that for just $100 extra. And trust me, the penny pinching is not going to stop here. Now that we're in the simulator mode, we can actually choose what to buy and do. Throughout the entire game, there are three main sources of money making. The first of which is the conventional revenue that your pizzeria pulls in. We'll get more into the specifics for this stuff during the end of the night section. But all that you need to know for now is that the higher these numbers are here, the more money that will pull in at the end of the night. The second source of money making is the salvage sections. At the end of each night in the office, you're given the option to salvage one of the 4 animatronics that appear during the night sections. Again, we'll go more into these in detail once we reach them in the playthrough, but it's very important that we salvage every single animatronic. The amount of revenue that you get from salvages is typically a large percentage, if not entirely more than the revenue that your pizzeria pulls in for that day. The trade-off is that you have to fend them off in the office sections, but in our case, we don't really have a choice. However, these two sources of income pale in comparison to our last form of money making, and that is fan rating and mini-games. Though the logic of these mini-games doesn't really make too much sense, as you're literally buying an arcade game, then somehow getting more money out of that same arcade game, but whatever, we take what we can get. Mini-games are by far the largest variable in the playthrough for money making. Essentially, whenever you place an attraction or animatronic down for the first time, add a new buy voice for an attraction, or play mini-games, your FAS rating will increase. Every time your FAS rating increases by 1,000, you'll be awarded with a $100 performance bonus. However, you can't just constantly play mini-games until you become a millionaire. You're only given 10 FAS tokens to play per night, giving us a total of 60 tries at mini-games before we've earned as much money as we possibly can for the playthrough. Remember that number because it will become very important later on. Now that we know how to generally make money in FNAF 6, let's get into exactly how we can play Monday as efficiently as possible. Throughout the last minute or so, I've explained the various sources of money making that are present throughout the entire game. However, there's an additional one-time source of income that is one of the most important in the entire game, and that is the achievement bonuses. There are 4 achievements total in the game, which are obtained by collecting and placing down each major set of animatronics present in each of the main catalogs. These award a ridiculous amount of money, with the Trash in the Gang achievement awarding $1,000, Mediocre Melodies achievement awarding $10,000, and the Rockstars Assemble awarding $20,000.
You know, that was very stupid of me in hindsight, but never punished, I guess.
With how much the animatronics for that achievement cost, I'm more than okay with avoiding it. Our route for Monday is essentially going to be watching the Trash in the Gang and Mediocre Melodies achievements, so we can set up our best money-making attractions for the remainder of the game. To start, we have our first $200 from the intro and bonus. With these $200, buy a small show stage, then every single Trash in the Gang animatronic. Now place all of them down one after another to get their initial FAS rating bonuses. Now accept the sponsorship for the Funtime Pop Soda for an additional $250. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but we're obviously going to be accepting every single ad, making the night sections even harder. But again, we don't really have a choice here because they will give us more money. At this point, you should have $470 total. In order to unlock each of the additional sections in the catalog menu, we'll have to spend a certain amount of total cash. This is why we purchased all of the Trash in the Gang animatronics, even though we only have enough space to place one of them down. Once we've bought all of the Trash in the Gang, we can purchase the colorful cups and plates for just over $100 spent in total, unlocking the Stan's Budget Tech catalog. It's here that we find our first mini-games, and seeing as we still have 10 FAS tokens for the night, we're going to want to find the most efficient way possible to use them. In Stan's Budget Tech, we have 3 arcade cabinets to choose from: Fruity Maze, Midnight Motorist, and Candy Cadet. In a perfect world, Candy Cadet would be the best option. His minigame is as simple as it gets. You just roll a random number between 1 and 8, then multiply that value by 250 to calculate the total FAS rating you get from that minigame. However, he has a 1% chance to tell one of his 4 stories, which award an additional 5,000 FAS rating. Getting this 1% chance would be huge, but I'm not about to go through all that intro cutscene and set up 99 out of 100 times just to get that one bonus. So for consistency, we have to choose between Fruity Maze and Midnight Motorist. Fruity Maze is significantly harder, and doesn't provide any advantages in FAS rating, so we're going to go with Midnight Motorist. Midnight Motorist is fairly simple. Once your car has reached a speed of 150 miles per hour, your score will begin to increase. If you ever hit a car, you'll be forced to speed back up in order to continue to gain score. What the f***, dude? I found the best place to stay is right between the 2 roads, probably slamming directly into the guardrail. as it gives you the most direct movement options. If you manage to not hit any cars throughout the entire minigame, you can get a perfect score of 2,774, usually rewarding $100 to $200. We'll have to play Midnight Motorist 3 times in order to get our next minigame upgrade. If you get hit, don't panic. Unlike some other minigames that we'll get to later on, Midnight Motorist isn't very punishing when you get hit, with you only losing about 100 score or so. Once you've spent 3 tokens on Midnight Motorist, you should have enough money to unlock the next catalog. We're going to do this in a similar fashion to how we unlock Stan's budget tech, by buying the small stage and some animatronics that we're going to place down, though you should be careful with who specifically you buy. I've added a total spent counter here for reference. In order to unlock Smiles and Servos Inc., you have to spend a total of $1,000. So purchase the Sturdy stage for 1 animatronic, then buy Mr. Hippo, Ned Bear, and Pig Badge, which pushes us just over 1K. Even though she's required with the achievement, we don't want to buy Happy Frog yet, as we'd be overpaying to unlock Smiles and Servos. Now, place down the 3 animatronics that we just purchased. If you've done everything right up to this point, you should now have $590, which will be enough to buy our next minigame that we'll be using for the remainder of the night. And that minigame is Fruit Punch Clown.
Oh man, Fruit Punch Clown. I'm gonna come right out and say it. I'm sorry to all you Spiff fans, but I hate this minigame. Maybe it's because I've been brain-rotted beyond belief by playing stuff like UCN Deluxe all day. But playing Fruit Punch Clown for this challenge has been one of my worst gaming experiences probably ever. If you don't know the horrors of Fruit Punch Clown, let me cue you in. You control the aptly named Fruit Punch Clown, which has a scare radius that's displayed by this circle here. Now, there are 9 children that you have to scare total, with each child rewarding 200 points if you catch them in your radius. However, if you're able to scare all 9 children, you'll get the perfect bonus of 10,000 points, equating to a full $1,000 in cold hard cash. Nothing that can be obtained this early in this game is anywhere near as lucrative as Fruit Punch Clown. The downside, of course, is that getting perfect scores in Fruit Punch Clown takes so much time. Throughout all the different minigames in Pizzeria Simulator, the code for all of them is very basic, with most of them being 70 to 80 lines at most. And Fruit Punch Clown is no exception. See, the biggest problem with this minigame is that each child's movement is completely random. At the start of the minigame, each individual child will choose a random direction to start moving in. Once a child picks a direction, they'll then choose one of 3 speeds to move. They can either be stationary, move at 10 pixels per second, or move at 20 pixels per second. Then, once they get close to an edge, they'll turn to face the opposite side. This is happening for each child individually every single second. So you're entirely at the mercy of RNG for how many openings you'll have to catch all 9 children. You could either have to wait 20 minutes or 30 seconds in order to get an opening. If you want a better idea of exactly how long it takes to win, It's Taken actually did some simulations on how often a winnable scenario would come around. Over the course of about an hour, he came up with this data. But a large portion of these windows for a perfect score are only about 1 to 5 frames, which when you're playing for multiple wins in a row, isn't a good idea to go for. In order to make our route work, we're going to need 4 perfect Fruit Punch Clowns out of 7 tries. And this is by far the single most agonizing part of the run. There were so many times where I wanted to go for a scare, and I felt like I could predict a movement, but I ultimately always decided against it because I knew I needed to win 4 out of 7 times, with very little room for error. On average, I'd usually spend about 40 minutes just sitting here waiting for these stupid kids to line up. See, in challenges that I've done before, it's one thing to have a boring start, like in FNAF Lock, where I died so much on Aggressive Nightmare that it made up a disproportionate amount of the total playtime. But at least in Aggressive Nightmare, you were doing something. In Fruit Punch Clown, you literally just sit here and wait and wait and wait. Listen guys, sitting here and waiting for hours and hours on stuff like Fruit Punch Clown can be really tiring. So if you want to make this guy here really happy, please consider subscribing. But of course, only if you're enjoying the video. And as you'll see later, it's not like this challenge is a one and done, free 1 attempt challenge. We're going to be restarting quite a bit. So adding on 40 additional minutes to the attempt counter every single time definitely isn't gonna help. Honestly, I don't really have too many tips for Fruit Punch Clown. Just find some good videos to play in the background and be really patient. There's nothing worse than having the mindset of, oh man, it sure has been a long time since I've had an opening. I should just try and predict one. Then, after the 20 minutes that you've been waiting for an opening, you get a 1400. Take your time, try not to fall asleep, and eventually you should be out of the Fruit Punch Clown's hell. Now, depending on how patient you were, you may have enough money left over so that you can start our next big minigame early. But in order to even get there, we have to do some pizzeria upgrades. First, upgrade the pizzeria's floor plan twice. This costs a hefty $12.50, but it's required to unlock the final show stage upgrade. Now, buy the large show stage and the side stage. This will allow us to place down 5 animatronics at the same time, which means that we can now start getting achievements. Now, place down all of the Tracks in the Gang characters that we've already bought to immediately get $1,000 in our first achievement. With Tracks in the Gang down, the Mediocre Melodies achievement is our next goal. And you would think it would be an easy one to get right afterwards, as they're all in the second catalog. Well, all except for one. I guess Orville thinks he's special or something, because instead of being in Stan's budget check like the rest of the Mediocre Melodies, he's sitting all the way in the rare finds auction for a whopping $4,100. Maybe this is why he's so much of a pain in UCN. He's just that much more advanced. Orville is pretty much the entire reason that we had to grind for Punch Clown, but at this point you should have enough money to purchase him. After buying the large stage upgrades, you should be right on the cusp of unlocking the rare finds auction. So buy Happy Frog, then if you have enough, purchase Orville. Unfortunately, in all of my runs, I was far too impatient with Fruit Punch Clown to ever have enough to get Orville in one day. So I had to get the revenue from the night section and salvage first before I could buy him. Speaking of which, we should probably talk about those. The first night section isn't too special, as no animatronics are even in the building yet. Just make sure that you don't buy any PC upgrades. As a general guideline for literally everything, if you don't absolutely need it to finish the game, and it won't make you any money in the future, we're not going to buy it. What's more important are the salvage sections, especially this Molten Freddy salvage, as this 500 right here can determine how many Faz tokens we'll have to spend in subsequent nights. All salvages really are is a giant progress bar, with the animatronic that you're salvaging getting more aggressive as the nights go on. In order to win a salvage, you have to play 5 separate audio prompts, and if the animatronic gets too aggressive, you'll need to use your taser on them. However, even though you might want to, you can't just continuously shock the animatronic. There's still money to be made here. If you shock the animatronic more than 3 times, the salvage value is halved, and if you shock any more than that, you'll only get $100 for the salvage, regardless of how much money the animatronic was originally worth. So you want to play the tape for as much as possible while shocking the animatronics as little as possible. Thankfully, the animatronics give many different tells for when they're about to attack, so you know when to shock without wasting your taser. First, each animatronic has 3 separate visual stages that they'll progress through as they get closer to attacking. In order to see these visual stages and to progress between the 5 different audio prompts, you'll have to pull up your maintenance checklist. It is very important to note that you don't have to actually fill out the boxes on the page. In fact, I would encourage you not to, as animatronics will progress faster while you have this page up. For each of the animatronics, their last stage before attacking is a tell that you can use. Molten Freddy will be leaning forward on the desk and cast a large shadow. Scrap Trap will be showing his teeth. Scrap Baby is the most obvious, showing the right eye. And for Lefty, just the right corner of his star will be visible and will be looking down at you. These visuals give you a clear idea of where the animatronic is in their progress. And for a casual playthrough, I would suggest immediately shocking the animatronic in stage 3. However, we don't want to lose any money whatsoever, so we're going to have to play a little bit riskier. To help visualize this, we're going to have to look at some of the numbers for salvages. So we know that every salvage is essentially like a progress bar, and you might think that the visual change to stage 3 would be close to the kill threshold, but actually it's only the halfway point. The total progress required for an animatronic to kill is 1,200 or 1,000 according to the checklist, and the visual stage changes every 250 progress. So an animatronic can be in stage 3 and still have half their progress left. However, at 750 progress, every animatronic can begin to play the stage audio cue. This is when I would recommend you get a taser, as none of your very close to the kill threshold. These are pretty quiet, but they're a lot easier to hear if you pull off the tape player. Molten Freddy's sound is sort of like a popping. Scrap Traps is a heartbeat. Scrap Babies kind of sounds like some metal scraping, and Lefties is a hissing sound. Don't worry if you have the tape paused for a while if you're trying to listen to these, as the animatronics won't progress unless you have the tape player playing or you have the checklist up. As long as you can listen for audio cues, none of these salvages should give you too much trouble. Once you've salvaged Molten Freddy, you can move on to Tuesday. You won't get very much end of night money on Monday, since our pizzeria is kind of ass right now, if I'm being honest. 2 wins in a row. And you might fall asleep, you better. It's like a bonus revenue. Dude, we're gonna roll. So we'll go into how to optimize this section with a bit more cash. With Molten Freddy salvage and the Tuesday sponsorship, you should now have enough money to buy Orville. Now, upon placing down all the Mediocre Melodies, we're awarded with whopping $10,000. But we aren't going to hold on to this $10,000 for long. With the verified auction open and $10,000 in cold hard cash, it's time to make our biggest investment yet. Now, throughout this video, we haven't really done anything too hard yet. Sure, Fruit Punch Clown is annoying and really forces you to be patient, but it isn't exactly difficult. At least not compared to some of the other stuff we do on this channel. So, you're probably wondering why this video is taking so long to come out. Well, the biggest money maker in this game also happens to be one of the single hardest challenges in the vanilla franchise. When you're ready, head into the catalog and purchase Gravity Vortex. Now, a lot of people seem to think that Fruit Punch Clown is the highest source of income in all of Pizzeria Simulator, but this actually isn't the case. Unless you're getting literal 1 in quintillions of odds playing Prize King, playing a perfect Gravity Vortex game will always award you the most Faz rating and cash compared to every other minigame. On average, a win can range from 26k to 29k, so that's about $2,700 every single time that you get a win, whereas Fruit Punch Clown is only getting you about 1.1 thousand and takes so much more time. Now, of course, like with all get-rich-quick schemes, there is a catch.
Do it. You do it. Hot good. You gotta put like an emphasis on like good.
And that catch is that Gravity Vortex is hard as hell. You could honestly make a case that despite only lasting a minute and 30 seconds, Gravity Vortex is more difficult than all the base game max modes with the exception of SL 1020 and 5020. And once you start trying to get multiple wins in a row, the difficulty just gets worse and worse. In Gravity Vortex, we play as Helpy in some sort of space pod, and this space pod is not durable whatsoever, as if you get hit even once, Helpy's ship will explode and you will lose the minigame. In Gravity Vortex, we'll have to face off against 4 different kinds of enemies. These are Balloon Boys and their respective heads, JJs, and the final Brow Boy boss. Defeating each of these enemies will award you with a different number of points that will go towards our overall Faz rating. And seeing as that Faz rating is what determines our cash, we want to get as much as possible. Upon first playing Gravity Vortex, you may think the game just randomly spits enemies at you until you've eventually defeated enough to trigger Brow Boy and win the minigame. But in reality, the minigame is actually split up into 5 different stages, and these stages won't progress until you've fully eliminated all of the enemies from the previous stage. Stage 1 is made up of 3 Balloon Boy enemies. Despite being the fodder type of enemy in Gravity Vortex, Balloon Boys are far and away the hardest type of enemy to deal with. They'll shoot projectiles at you constantly and home in on your position, and when given bad spawn RNG, which we will talk about later, trust me, I got some beef with Balloon Boys, they can essentially close you off and force you into unwinnable situations. This is made even worse by their death animation. When a Balloon Boy is destroyed, they split into a bunch of different heads that go flying in every single direction. This would be okay normally, except for the fact that the Balloon Kid heads will fire the same projectiles at you at the same rate. So if you don't take these heads out fast, they'll fill the screen with projectiles and you'll have to use some insane bullet hell skills to find a pathway through. Though in stage 1, with only 3 Balloon Boys, it isn't quite enough to overwhelm you, and you can quickly dispatch these first 3. Phase 2, however, is considerably more difficult, and is actually the most RNG-based phase in the entire minigame. Instead of 3 Balloon Boys coming at you, 7 will spawn in quick succession, and if you're not careful, they can very easily overwhelm you. Phase 3 introduces the JJ enemy, with the entire phase just being 1 JJ. JJs will move towards you at a much slower rate than Balloon Boys, and will fire bullets in all directions instead of directly homing in on you. Once a JJ takes enough damage, it will then pop into 3 Balloon Boys. Phase 4 is by far the hardest phase. In this phase, 5 JJs will spawn in one after another, and this is where all of the crazy bullet hell tactics come in. As a matter of fact, every single clip that was in that montage all came from Phase 4. If you don't dispatch each JJ enemy as they spawn in, they will overwhelm you insanely fast, and you'll likely get cornered by the sheer amount of BBs that will spawn in as you try to fend off the rest of the JJs. If you somehow made it past Phase 4, you'll finally reach Brow Boy and the final stage. Thankfully, even though Brow Boy is meant to be the final boss for the minigame, he is the easiest enemy. He has an insanely slow and telegraphed fire rate, and he'll always spawn in the location that is the furthest away from you. When he pops, he'll award a whopping 10,000 points, then split into 2 JJs. Then, taking out these JJs will finally end the minigame. Now, most players would beat this minigame once, say something along the lines of, "Wow, that was horrible, I never want to do that again," and move on with their life.
That's the most annoying game, and just so inconsistent. So that's what happens at the end of Gravity Vortex. I would not recommend having that as your main income source, even though you get like 28,000.
But unfortunately, in order to succeed in this challenge, we're going to have to become the best Gravity Vortex players that the FNAF community has ever seen. And I do mean that quite literally. When I first started brainstorming ideas for this challenge, I knew that I was going to have to get good at Gravity Vortex. So I booted it up and began to try and craft some strategies. It took me around 20 attempts to get my first ever win, and I knew that that kind of win rate wasn't going to generate any profit. So somehow, I needed to find a way to drastically increase the consistency of the minigame. The first thing that I noticed, and one of the best tips that I can give, is to know your hitbox and the hitbox of enemies. You may think that the moment a projectile or enemy collides with your ship, you'll lose. But in a moment of mercy when creating this minigame, Scott decided to shrink your hitbox to only be a small square in the dead center of Helpy's pod. This is why stuff like this, and this is possible. Knowing exactly where your true hitbox is super important for when you have to pull off super tight dodges. Even though your hitbox has been decreased, enemy hitboxes are the exact same as their model. If your hitbox gets clipped by even the topmost pixel of a balloon from a Balloon Boy, you will lose. But even with the knowledge of these hitboxes, I still couldn't seem to find a way to get wins consistently. Sure, I could get past the first 3 phases with some sort of consistency, maybe like 40%, but I would just get swarmed so fast in phase 4, and I really couldn't do anything about it. I'd try to target a JJ, pop it, then the BBs from that JJ would usually force me into a corner with no way out. I was thinking that at this point, maybe this challenge wasn't going to be possible after all. I mean, only a few people have ever even beaten Gravity Vortex, and no one on record had even done it twice in a row before. I just needed more space. If I could find a way to get more space in the arena and somehow manipulate the spawns of the JJs, maybe I could get some more consistent wins. So I thought and thought, and eventually an idea came to me. A series of games that I've held near and dear to my heart for nearly 10 years at this point is Call of Duty Zombies. I've never made a video on zombies because honestly, I could never find anything that would be worthwhile to do in it for this channel, but it resurfaced in my mind here. You see, in Call of Duty Zombies, players will often use a method known as training to survive longer into the rounds of the game. Why is it called training, you ask? If you know, you know. In COD Zombies, the zombies will always run directly towards your position. So if you ran around in a circle while dodging the incoming zombies, you could ward them up, then take them all out as a group much more efficiently. So seeing as the JJs try and track your movement, I was wondering if I could apply the same kind of tactic here. And it turns out, this was the first major step in increasing the consistency of Phase 4. Instead of just playing as aggressive as humanly possible and hoping for a good JJ spawn pattern, I'd bomb rush the first JJ and then destroy its BBs. Then I'd let the remaining 4 JJs spawn and begin to loop them. The first loop would often be the most difficult, as the JJs would get a bit desynced and their projectiles could create some tough patterns. But usually, if I was able to get the first loop, I had a good chance of winning the phase. Once I had the JJs loop, I would then lead them into a corner, then fire to pop the frontmost JJ and take out its BBs. Then I'd loop again and repeat until phase 4 was complete. Now, this strategy wasn't completely foolproof. Sometimes when I was trying to get the first loop, the last JJ would spawn directly where I needed to go, and I was pretty much screwed. But it drastically increased the consistency of the wins thus far. So much so that I was able to snag the world record for the most Gravity Vortex wins in a row. 4.
Thought I was the Gravity Vortex.
Record under my belt, I thought this challenge would be a breeze, but I couldn't have been any more wrong. See, a huge problem that I had with Gravity Vortex was that mentally, practice was much easier than actual in-game runs. When you're just constantly restarting over and over again and not playing for any stakes, it's easy to not feel any pressure, even when going for multiple wins in a row. But when you know the last 50 minutes that you spent staring at Fruit Punch Clown is at stake, if you don't lock in and win some Gravity Vortex games, the pressure can really take a toll on you. And I could see this immediately on Tuesday. Even though I managed to get 4 runs in a row in practice, I was still only able to win 3 out of the 10 runs that I was doing for the day. But I figured that this pace was at least still somewhat okay, and that I'd play the run out. Once you played Gravity Vortex all 10 times on Tuesday, you should have a decent sum of cash left. At this point, you're going to want to buy all of the Rockstar animatronics and place them down for their high entertainment stats. You'll need to buy the Rockstar animatronics later anyway in order to get the Rockstar's Assemble achievement, which awards $20,000. However, we don't want to rush the achievement now by buying Lefty. It may be tempting as he's only $5, but we can salvage him for $5,000 later on in the game, and if we purchase him here, we won't be able to salvage him later. At this point, I had a tough call to make. I still had a bit of cash left over, and despite having a stacked animatronic lineup, my pizzeria was still pretty shit. I didn't know if it was a good investment to buy some better attractions for the sake of revenue, or just save as much money as possible by not buying anything. This was still only my first serious attempt at this challenge, so I decided to purchase a bunch of items that would increase my overall atmosphere with the hope that it would eventually lead to more end-of-night money. See, there's a fine line that you want to walk between saving and spending, as you only want to buy items that will give you more return on investment later. Simple business practice. So let's look at what these end-of-night numbers really mean. To start, let's go over how each of these stats influence your total revenue. Atmosphere and entertainment will both influence your visitor count, with your atmosphere being new visitors and your entertainment being returning visitors. The equations to generate the exact visitor count are a bit complicated and are pretty luck-based, so I've just put the average results on here as well. Once the overall visitor count is determined, you then gain revenue based on the amount of visitors. Food revenue is determined purely on your visitor count, while the bonus revenue factors in the revenue stat as well. Unfortunately, the way that we have to buy items in order to optimize our cash kind of makes these stats work against us in the early game. Animatronics provide loads of entertainment but don't provide any atmosphere, and on Monday you're not able to get any returning visitors. Now, the returning visitors won't make logical sense on later nights, as you can get more returning visitors on Tuesday than new visitors that you have on Monday. But you can't get any returning visitors on Monday, if that makes sense. And on Monday, we don't really have anything that would provide any atmosphere. All we really have is the mediocre melodies. And because atmosphere is so important for all of the sources of revenue, we don't pull in too much cash here. But now, on Tuesday, we can factor in entertainment, revenue, and atmosphere. If we heavily generalize all the equations here, 1 point of atmosphere is roughly equal to about $36 at the end of the night. 1 point of entertainment is about equal to $30, and 1 point of revenue is about equal to $94. So if whatever you want to buy isn't going to make up that cost in however many nights you have left, it isn't a worthwhile purchase. For example, let's look at 2 items and see if they're worth purchasing. To show as much contrast as possible, let's look at the paper pals and the confetti tile floor. The paper pals cost a measly $5 and only award 1 atmosphere, whereas the confetti tile floor costs $5,000 and awards 9 atmosphere allowing its own confetti tile floor may look more valuable at first. The paper pals completely obliterated in the ratio for return on investment. Not only do the paper pals make their own cost,
I forgot it destroys it. There's already a trap in grave.
So they're going to award you more money for more nights than the confetti tile floor. So in general, we're going to be using these guidelines to appraise items by their stats and see if they're worth picking up. But generally speaking, cheaper items are always better. Unfortunately, I was not this smart on my first playthrough, and I made some very inefficient impulse buys. Now, after playing the next night section and salvaging scrap trap, Gravity Vortex would love to show how much pressure affected my gameplay when I would go 2 of 10. Thursday was reasonable, with only a 1 of 10. After salvaging Lefty and getting the Rockstar Assemble achievement, I was up to 70 grand, which sure, it was good, but it was still extremely far off from our original goal of $1 million. I would go on to go 3 and 10 in Gravity Vortex for Friday, then finally 1 and 10 on Saturday, finishing with a total cash of $93,000 and 10 of 50 Gravity Vortex wins. Which, sure, it's not bad for only a week, but it was a far cry from the goal of $1 million. And actually, at this point, I kind of realized that I was a bit in over my head. I calculated that without any kind of glitches or exploits, the best we were going to get was about $215,000. But I didn't want to give up on my dream of becoming a millionaire just yet, because in that moment, something else caught my eye.
It wouldn't be as sweet as that. Should've missed the song.
your sweetest shadow monster fall. Everyone can stop the way of things. We'll keep on reaching out. Oh yeah.
When it's all said and done, it's up to you to get to where you wanna be. Now make your movement. But take a rest when you walk too much.
Dun 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 dun. God damn it, I'm using the wrong thing again. Why is it always a 4? Oh! Oh no! Wait, no, I don't want to do that. But wait, it's gonna happen either way, huh? I want to see what happens. Oh, I just get a token with nothing. Oh, that's funny. Damn it, relinquished. Oh yeah, I forgot there's no extra deck monsters. Oh well. There ain't no perfect song. These nights pick me down. Either you go with flow or go without determination. But you're not, you know it's a complication. So come with me on your march and step forward. Get on and go.
Is a prototype, more room for growth at the same time. It's real life on the verge of deciding the color of the rest of your life. Bit too heavy to think like that, but on both sides leave big impact. Get wise or rise, so it be best to find some
of my regrets come haunting me till this day. Choice I made, it was wrong. I felt left to believe that I was alone. I learned it hard away, but you didn't have to go through what I've been through. 'Cause you're not alone in this frustration. So come with me on your mind, you can set the road and treat you. Make a move before they can make an act on you.
coming through. Partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right. Baby, 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 we tight. Pull the trigger, make it look flashy even when it's bitter. Cannot defeat me even when I lose. I stand right back to the spot, go figure. You don't see what I see, but you don't have to see what I see. Just see how to ride despite my differences. We're still tight.
You're in the perfect time, get a big change, especially when you're ready. More times people brutal till it captures you.
Let's go. Dusty, riding, tumbleweeds on the road, sunny, steering, get the girl in the bones, take down, shake down, eyes the back on the show, pumping, rhythm, getting out of control. Action is what the music can. Six shot, you're faster than lightning. Shot pen, it's time for headbanging, and then the bar will be shaking. Back in
exhausted, driving, tumbleweeds on the road, silent, searing. Get this feel in my bones. Take down Satan. I'll be back on the show.
Getting out of control. Record is what I've been seeking. Six shots, you're fast lightning. Shot it's time for headbanging. Bam bam, the ground will be shaking. Back in the town, I gotta keep it rap. I wanna kill this for the way my body's
It takes a simple not to fall in love.
Yeah, naked is true life, only if you realize. Hearing and the body signs, kill the sterilized. Stop the guerrilla warfare, the glitter. There is a far a greater cost. You know the stakes are high, sometimes it's tough. Do not waste your time, you hit me quite to guys. Human AI, now just for freedom, not I. Face out, I hold out, I reach out to the truth of my life, seeking this peace on the whole moment, do not to break away.
sky. Tomorrow AI justice to them all. I face out, I hold out, I reach out to the truth of my life. All the whole moment to now break away. Oh, God, let me out. Can you let me out? Can you set me free from this that in the world safe? In the last beat in the soul.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. What the fuck? Really? Which UI moment? I can't go into Dawn Dragster. Let's just pretend that I have Dawn Dragster. Yeah, I activate this and this got Dawn Dragster. I'm gonna banish this guy because that one's worthless. Fuck, I can't activate Move Beta Fafnir either? Okay, I'm gonna pretend I never drew those two cards. Actually, wouldn't I have negated this?
If I gotta be someone who's always trying to meet others' expectations, I'm good as dead, rather die and say nothing lies ahead. So I burn and trade out under abnormality. Most wanted for disturbing the formality, negative vitality, superficiality, spread denies my personality. Oh boy, not again, came back again with a plot against me. You must wanna get tossed again. Truth be told, you're mission aboard again. Never lose my mind's locked tight like Tokyo grit, like concentrated. Be careful when I'm agitated, better back up. The attack, so I can
Don't let anyone mislead you like you were nobody. That's so much to me, let them laugh at you. You like that?
Textbook to your life. Said you gotta write your own manuals to your life. I did it my way. Switching 4 lanes on the highway. Fast and furious, the image I display. They can't wait to obey the style. Society needs to be systematic. Well calculated, it's mathematics. But can't prevent me from being charismatic. While I'm at it, my shit's automatic. They wanna delete my existence. Underestimated the power of resistance. I'm a dot to them in a distance. Can't never catch me, stop me.
Don't let anyone
Mislead you like you were nobody. Cause you mean so much to me.
let them laugh at you. They see at the end of the day who's gonna be smiling. Be different from others is not cute. It's okay to be who you are, just be you. So don't let anyone
Mislead you like you were nobody. So much to me. Let them laugh at you. Oh, oops. Don't let anyone mislead you like you were nobody. To mean so much to me. Let them laugh at you. Let's see at the end of the day. I forgot to swap those out, huh?
Let's go.
Dustin, driving, tumbleweeds on the road, solid, searing, it is real in my bones. Take down Satan. I misclicked. I was using the wrong screen. Whoops.